And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director of WEIU. My co-host is Jackson Probst. Welcome, Jackson.
How's it going, Jeff?
And today, making another appearance, is General Manager of Emerald Acres Sports Connection, Mr. Tyler Yoder. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you. Excited to be back.
I'm glad you're back. We'll get an update on all things Emerald Acres and stuff like that. And in a few weeks, we'll also have Blake Pierce from Merle King on, and he'll give more of the retail and stuff side of that, too. So we'll get a double whammy of what's going on with Mattoon's new Emerald Acres complex out there. But why don't you just give us an overview right now, maybe like an update on where the facilities are and what's coming and what people can expect.
Yeah, ironically enough, what we'll end up doing a little later today, we'll end up posting our economic impact report, our mid-year report on how we've done thus far this year. And we're really excited about the numbers and the growth that we've had thus far. We're at an estimated $6.7 million in economic impact. And when you kind of break down our tournaments, we've hosted 22 tournaments throughout the year, just over 400 teams, just over 10,000 athletes, just over 36,000 spectators, and over 7,000 hotel rooms. So it's been really fun. We got a few more tournaments throughout the year, but thus far in our 7-8 months of being open, it's been really fun.
That's awesome. Good.
Oh, I say, I've heard that like you guys, you just said you guys like host stuff and whatnot. So like, what's been like the most popular event that you guys have hosted?
There's a wide a range. Right now, we've hosted basketball, volleyball, wrestling, archery. That's definitely been my personal favorite. It's certainly the most unique. We've hosted one with St. John's here locally that had just over 1,000 athletes. And then also NASP, that's a state tournament. We'll host that again. We've secured that through 2027. That had just over 1,000 athletes, just over 100 targets. So we lined that whole gym of archery, and it was a really fun, cool, unique event to see.
Is there one achievement out there that you just like, man, I thought we did our best work at and you were really proud of? Is it the archery tournament?
State archery, yeah, because I don't think a lot of people anticipated having an archery event out there. I think they typically think of the standard basketball, volleyball, but really the two things that show the most versatility with our venue, archery was one of them. Royal King Expo was another. We hosted them for 2 days, had a lot of vendors, so we had a lot of pipe and drape, a lot of vendor booths coming out, allowed Royal King and their executives to come out all throughout the country and really to show the versatility. We're able to feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner over the 2 days, and we'll expand that to 4 total days next year.
Oh, wow.
But it really shows the versatility of how our venue can act as a convention center, our capabilities for catering, and just so many other things we can do outside of the sports industry.
Did the recent water crisis, I don't know what you want to call it, in Watergate or whatever they call it, in Mattoon, did it cause any issues out there with you guys?
Personally, not a whole lot for us. We were able to find ways to continue to stay open, and didn't really affect us, fortunately, all that much.
That's good. What have you kind of learned? You've almost been there about a year on the job, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's hard. Dates are terrible for me as I get older.
Year come, it was in February, so it went fast.
So what have you kind of learned so far? I mean, what has Tyler Yoder learned out there in Emerald Acres?
It's always going. It's always rolling. It's you sign one contract and you're off to the next. Our events manager, J.R. Hodges, has done extremely well in being able to maintain and get events here with us. I think one thing we're excited about, obviously, as the outdoor comes and we continue to grow this process is what does the next year look like? What is the year after? And he's been able to secure tournaments all the way through 2028 for the outdoor. June and July through 2028 calendar year completely booked in full. We're having the good problem of having to turn some tournaments away, but it's always off to the next one. You host that event, make sure they have a good time, and you're off to next year. You're off to 2028 and even more. So it's just a continuous revolving door, but it makes it fun that way.
So baseball and softball will be open sometime next year? Is that
estimated June of 26?
Okay.
Yeah.
And get how many fields for each of those?
We don't have an exact number just yet.
Okay.
That's one thing that we're working on, still finalizing the exact layout of what we want. The biggest thing for us is you'll see a big multi-purpose field to that. You'll have some ball diamonds, but mainly you'll have a lot of the soccer fields that act as a multi-purpose, meaning they can play diamonds on those fields up to 2-on-1. So we're really hopeful we can kind of maintain that multi-purpose field and get as many fields as we can. I think right now we're eyeing up to 22 diamonds at one time, but we'll work on finalizing that, and hopefully in the next probably month we'll break ground on the turf.
That's awesome.
So you said it'll be a year like the next February, right? Or when?
My year was this February.
Oh, this
so
February.
I've been here
almost a year and a half.
While. Yeah.
How did you get your start at Emerald Acres?
Yeah, so I came from the athletics background. I'm originally from Champaign, so very familiar with the area. Most recently being over at Tulane University in New Orleans with their athletic department, managed their baseball and football stadiums. And a few of my old buddies and assistants at Tulane actually departed Tulane and came over to what we work for is these sports facilities companies. It's an advisory management firm that now manages 92 venues similar to us across the country. That's, indoor venues, outdoor, ice rinks, aquatics, you name it. And they really just kind of let me know that they really enjoyed what they did in the sports tourism industry. And really the second that I saw this open up here in Mattoon for us, I knew it was time for me to get back closer to home, closer to family, still work in the sport industry, and just something new, something challenging and fun.
Gotcha.
What about right now, if anybody's looking for employment opportunities, or you have anything out there at Emerald Acres right now? Because I know a lot of students are going to be coming back to the area here soon.
Yeah, that's a big emphasis on what we'll be doing. So you'll see us hire a lot more part-time. Right now we're at 47 part-time, 7 full-time, but we'll really see that grow. As we transition into the outdoor, we'll hire more full-time assistants to help our administrative staff, probably get up to 120, 125 part-time here in probably the next 5-6 months. So we'll really see that grow, and we'll focus on internship opportunities, part-time opportunities, a lot of things focused through Eastern and Lakeland.
Okay, cool. Now, how does Tyler Yoder and the people in your management team out there at Emerald Acres, how do you measure success of a tournament? Or is it always financial, or is it sometimes what happens on the field?
It's not always financial. I think that's a big thing for us. Of course, the big eye-catching thing for me is what I spoke on the economic impact. How are we performing? How are we getting money circulated throughout Coles County and our community? But how is it perceived as well? A lot of times we'll try to, if we have a weekend where we don't have a tournament, for example, we'll host what we call family fun nights. It's more community-focused, community-driven, less about the revenue side, less about the financials. Just open the venue up to the community and make sure that they can use that however they want to as well.
That's cool. Over the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see Emerald Acres progressing as it continues to grow, and where you have tournaments almost every weekend, or what's the best case scenario?
That would be the best worst case scenario in the world, where we have a tournament every single weekend. That means a lot of long hours, a lot of evenings, but that comes with the territory, and we're really excited for that. Of course, that's the biggest thing that we want. We're kind of seeing a little bit now of indoor versus outdoor. You have your seasons.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say we're in a little bit of a slower time right now because everybody's outdoor playing outdoor sports, but that'll come kind of full circle with us once we can get the outdoor up and running, as we'll truly be a full year-round venue.
Yeah, because right now you the teams that have football and things like that in high school, those kids are playing there, but there's also high schools that don't have that, that have fall baseball.
And that's our big focus too, is can we find local community organizations, local clubs, whatever that may be, to have them transition from indoor to outdoor. Futsal Cup is being one of them. We'll host a Futsal Cup here later this year, indoor soccer. And can they play soccer indoors and then transition to the outdoor once that gets built? So that's something that we're paying attention to as well.
Gotcha. So what has been the most challenging aspect of with your time at Emerald Acres?
For us, it's just brand recognition, building that brand, knowing that you're a new venue. Ultimately, the venue will sell itself. It's a brand new, beautiful, $35 million state-of-the-art venue. But there's so many other factors that you have to consider when calling tournaments, getting them to come here. One big focus for myself and for my staff is really just Coles County. What do we have in the area? What are they doing? Where are they going when they're not here? And Emerald Acres is a big question that we always ask. We've had really good partnerships with the Compass, with Coles Together. I know you had Dr. Rhonda Soje on here the other day, and she's been a very big help for kind of meshing those two. And really, how can we sell our community? Is it the retail? Is it restaurants, entertainment? Are there other factors that we can consider and help sell to get those families here? They want to come to a place, to a community where they're going to be here over multiple periods, over multiple days. Is their family, are there players, are their parents going to like being here? And that's what we focus on trying to sell. Is not necessarily just the venue, but all of Coles County.
Yeah. Okay. As with hotels, I mean, obviously more of them in Mattoon than Charleston. Are they seeing? Are they happy with what's happened so far?
Yeah, I think so. I mentioned just over 7,000 hotel room stays here so far this year. They're packed, even on the midweeks when we're not hosting tournaments. They're packed, which is a good problem to have for them. And we'll transition to the new Fairfield that we'll have on site. I believe their deadline is October. They're trying to open up. We'll open a Hampton Inn across over towards 57 to kind of pair with our outdoor, and look for a third additional hotel. So it'll be nice to have 3 hotels right here on site, but also use everything else within the community that will help get larger, bigger tournaments for us.
And we'll talk a little more about that retail when Blake gets in there, because that's more of his expertise. But the one thing I know everybody asks right now, Texas Roadhouse, that's all I want to know. So I see that there's signs up, right?
There's signs. It's vertical. They got the shell up, so it's certainly coming.
I know you've had, how many different sports have you had, and is anything that you see adding that you're going to add on to those in the next couple of years besides baseball and
number
softball
of
and soccer?
sports, I bet that we're probably ranging right now from 7 to probably 8. I think we like that range, that versatility. You'll see, of course, majority basketball, volleyball in our venue, but I mentioned futsal, archery, archery and wrestling specifically are two really big events that we have. We have several throughout the year. And I think there's a lot of sports that we can continue to offer, but there's kind of a shelf life on how many you can offer in an indoor venue, and you're probably in that 7 to 8 range.
Okay. And soccer, you can host a bunch of teams when you have big soccer tournaments. I remember my kids played soccer when they were youth, and it was just like 300 teams in Champaign on a weekend. It's crazy. So we're talking to Tyler Yoder today, the general manager of Emerald Acre Sports Connection. Tyler, the other thing we want to talk a little bit about, what is some, maybe, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, but response from out-of-towners. Do they come up to you and say, oh, this venue's awesome, it's the coolest one ever, or do they give you suggestions of how you could do something better? I mean, can you talk about some of those things?
Everything in between, all the way to, is there a pool, is there an ice rink? But we get a lot of compliments, especially from local communities, on what was the process? How did we go about building this, getting this in Mattoon? And then obviously dates all the way back to 2019, and a bunch of community leaders all just working together as one. But a lot of the times we get compliments on how we're able to do this, and making sure that we open our doors not only just to the sports tournament side, but nice, beautiful arcade, 47 games in there, very similar to a Dave & Buster's type feel. Are there things that we can offer to the community, Monday through Thursday? And I think we've done a really good job of being able to showcase that, host that, and it's a good taking for the local communities as well.
Do you track like how maybe the furthest events come to compete?
We do, yeah. So when we contract with all these events, we actually require them to provide the zip codes of every single team that comes. That way we're truly able to see, are they local versus non-local? We split that up into 3 categories, typically within 30-minute drive, 30 to 90-minute drive, and 90 more. Obviously, the 90-plus is what we're focused on the tourism side. Those are the people that probably spend a little bit more money in our community through hotels, through restaurants, and entertainment. Obviously, that's our main focus here at Emerald Acres is sports tourism, but we'll see a good mix of everything.
There you go.
So we were both talking about like the stuff that like you like wanted over at Emerald Acres and some of that. And one thing that's like risen in popularity, at least for me, and like where I like a lot of my friends, is pickleball.
Yes.
I do like, you guys offer pickleball facilities, or are you looking at?
We do. Yeah, we offer court rentals. We offer it for $5 daily. I think that's one thing that we'll look into. Is it pickleball memberships? Are we getting a little bit more creative about our offerings? Obviously, have a great pickleball area over in Mattoon and at the local parks. But the winters are a little rough, so how can we focus on getting them indoors? And I think we were able to see that during the winter months, and they enjoyed it so far.
Because every single town is wanting to get pickleball courts. Yeah. Like on campus, and even back in like
campus has it now here in Charleston.
Yeah,
and Mattoon has the new ones, and I think Charleston's supposed to have another development up the old Walmart building.
I believe so. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard much of the status of that one.
Pickleball
lately.
is just taken off all over the United
tennis
States.
Courts, like over by Lance Arena, like those are going to be pickleball courts. And actually, one of the parks back in Todopolis is getting revamped. Like that now, they have pickleball courts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one really unique thing about our company, pickleball, we have two, I believe, two just pickleball facilities. One of them is over in Macon, Georgia. It's the largest pickleball venue in the entire world. It's got, I think, just over 100 pickleball courts.
Holy cow.
It is massive, and it's growing all throughout the country.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I have. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so how do you get organized with local leagues and local things so people can? I know you've had 3-on-3 tournaments.
Yeah.
Do you just use social media? How do you get people to get interested so you have those maxed out?
Social medias, press releases, just in-person conversations. Even when you might be out at a restaurant or out after a drink, just small talk is big on what are your interests, and I think we're always going to be open ears on how can we play a role in the local community. So what are their wants and needs, listen to that, and ultimately just execute once we can have good conversations with them.
You kind of read my mind there. I was going to ask you, what if someone had an idea for Tyler Yoder? Hey, why don't we have a whatever kind of tournament, some new sport or old sport or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you'll at least listen, I assume?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I first came in, we talked about archery, and that's personally my favorite event. I never anticipated hosting archery in this event. That was something that I personally didn't have experience in. I've never been to one of those tournaments, and now it's a no-brainer. We're going to try to get that multiple times over every single year. So a lot of things like that we'll see. We don't have to reinvent the wheel on. That's part of what comes with being a part of our company at SFC is we have the 92 other venues that are doing very similar things to what we are. Are we hosting tournaments that we maybe didn't think of, that they hosted and went well? So we kind of take that, grab it, and don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel and all of that.
And I think I'd assume when you work with like a place like the archery and you had such a great response to that, and people were talking about it, and photos everywhere, it's probably good for the people that run the that want to bring it here, because they don't have to worry about it now. Now we have a location. Tyler and his gang kind of know how to run it. So I mean, it's probably easier. I won't say easier, but easier to get that contract signed.
Well, yeah, and that's a focus, is a multi-year. Can we lock in multi-years? We've gotten, I believe, 2 or 3 within the indoor. We've gotten, I mentioned all the way through 2028 on the outdoor side. It's bigger and better every year. How can we make their experience better? And that's what we'll focus on, kind of getting those multi-year contracts, archery being one of them, is how can we make it bigger, better, and a better experience for them.
Whenever you have a question,
Go ahead.
No, I was just like, whenever you take a new job like you did, even though you have a sports background and you've been in it, you had to go in with some apprehension just because it's brand new. If you sit back and look on it now, the initial success you have to rate this job as probably a pretty cool on the rating level. Talk about that from a personal point, what it means to you.
It's a lot of it from what we do is in sports. It's so long hours. And I think a lot of that goes unnoticed, but the whole job isn't for the thank yous, it isn't for the recognition. It's getting the athletes in there, ensuring that the families, the athletes are having a good time, and that's the most rewarding part of that. It was very similar in college athletics, is you put all the work forward to see the championships, to see the very highs, and I think that's the best part of the job, is to experience when they first walk in that venue. It might be their first time seeing a brand new state-of-the-art venue that they've never seen, kind of have that eye-popping aha moment. And I think that's what we live for, what my staff lives for, to make sure that they fully take that in every tournament, enjoy it.
I know the other thing we don't talk about is enough, because you talk about the athletes and the people running the tournaments, but the officials, referees, have you had trouble getting any of those? I know there's referee shortage nationwide. How is it at
There is, and we're very fortunate that we haven't seen that yet. Obviously, knock on wood a lot for the indoor, more so probably for the outdoor. I think those are tough, but I think I've mentioned a few times we've been on here as well, as we do have a referee locker room specifically dedicated to officials and referees, and it's just one more amenity that we want to offer. They can go anywhere in the country that they want to, or they choosing to come here to our venue. And of course, if they choose that, we're wanting high quality officials, because that impacts overall experience of the tournament. But are we also giving them a place where they want to call home, where they want to travel to? Are we taking care of them when they're here too? And that's just one more factor that we thought of when building the venue.
What's been the response? If they came up and said, "Hey, thank you, we love this place because we have the amenities and we're treated a little bit better"?
It's been treated very, very well. Aside from their locker room, there are multiple hospitality spaces that we set up for the tournaments and for the rights holders, and just making sure they're taken care of. And it's been very well received so far.
Cool.
That's awesome. Something I want to touch on once again is the archery. So, as far as I understand, it's become more and more popular at Emerald Acres. Would you say yourself you have learned a lot more about archery because it has been at Emerald Acres?
I have, yes. Even from the competitive side, I've started to watch these local high schools and teams and how they're performing. I mentioned I'm from Champaign, watched Centennial a lot. That's where I went to high school. I was very remiss when I saw that Central won the national championship, I believe. Maybe wrong, but I've even gotten into that of how are these teams, how are these athletes coming in? How are we anticipating them performing at our own tournaments? And it's really cool to watch their growth and ultimately see what they do here in the venue.
Gotcha.
How does Tyler Yoder manage his time with all these different tournaments? You're working years out, but you also have stuff going on daily. How's your time?
Day by day. You can't get ahead of yourself. I think it's very easy to do that when you get into the 27s, the 28 schedules. Wholeheartedly, it's just day by day. Keep chipping away. You're not going to get answers from events rights holders every single day. It's keep calling, keep emailing, keep texting. Whatever conversations you can have, just keep chipping away at that process. We knew that when we built this venue, it was not going to happen overnight. Certainly not the construction side, not the success of our tournaments. It's going to take years. And I mentioned the brand recognition that comes with it. We have to not only host the tournaments, we have to host good quality tournaments. And we're going to see that transition from what we hosted this year to even better, larger tournaments next year, and we'll continue to see that grow. So really it's just taking it day by day, and that's all you can do.
Do you merchandise? Do you sell a lot of the Emerald Acres merchandise out there, and talk about how that process, if you can?
Yeah, we have a heat press on site, allows us to sell our own brand for the community members that want it, for people coming in through tournaments, but we also use that as a revenue piece for tournaments. That's a big
So you can
thing.
personalize everything.
Right. Whether it's the name on the back, whether it's the custom tournament logo, we can throw that on sweatshirts, T-shirts, hats, mugs, whatever you name it, and that's one thing that we want to be able to offer when people are traveling here for our tournaments.
You said you're going to hire a bunch more people here in the next 5 to 6 months. How do you train those staff to make sure that we're putting on the best product we can in Mattoon?
You throw them into the fire.
Is that it?
Yes.
All
right. we mentioned that our company has a lot of venues. It also gives us the opportunity to go and train, get in-person training, see how tournaments are ran over at other venues and successful. So that's one thing that we want to focus on, is the development side. Once we hire full-time, can we get them to another venue to see what it looks like, to get them in-person training and experience? And I personally am a firm believer of throw them into the fire, and you're not going to let them sink, but you're certainly going to give them the opportunity to learn and grow, and that's one thing that we have here with our company.
No, I agree, because I think there's you can sit around and say you can do it, but until you actually get in there and how you run a tournament, because people think running a tournament's easy, and it's not.
It's not.
And mostly at the level you're at. I mean, when you got 4 or 5 different things going on at once, I don't know how you do it. How do you handle any emergencies, injuries, and any mishaps that happen out at Emerald Acres? I know you've got the Sarah Bush place on site, but talk about the process.
Yeah, a lot of that, what we mentioned, is through the training. We're always going to make sure that somebody is trained and kind of very comfortable in any sort of emergency scenario that we might have. Of course, once they get that proper training, we kind of throw them into working our hours, working the tournaments. Of course, the partnership with Sarah Bush is very helpful with that. We do require athletic trainers to be on site for all of our tournaments. We have a dedicated athletic training room, is very helpful. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be helpful when you have Sarah Bush right across the hall to help with any sort of injury. But when it comes to emergency scenarios, our staff is trained very well enough to where it's not even they have to think about it. It's just go, and they know what that process looks like.
It's a sports complex, so there's going to be things that break, or there's going to be things that get chipped. Have you gotten over, like, man, we're brand new, we can't have a mark on the wall? Is that still?
There's been a few. There's been a few, and that comes with the territory. The beautiful 8-course, 75,000 square feet of hardwood that we have. I'm very protective of that. It might be a scuff on the floor from a shoe or a volleyball pad. I'm like, I just wish it wasn't on there. And eventually, obviously, we'll get that taken care of, and that's something that we want to focus on, is maintaining the integrity of the floor and resurfacing that every single year. But a lot of white walls, a lot of green walls, a lot of good colors, and the second it gets scratched up, I'm like, shoot. I wanted to say new forever.
There you go. You guys could treat it like your own kid. I mean, like your baby. So, but upkeep's important, right? I mean, you talk about the staff that does the work, maybe that people don't see, that are in there after a tournament cleaning up and painting.
A big shout out to our facility maintenance manager, Sean Hamilton. He oversees the facility maintenance side and the janitorial side, oversees the grounds, exterior as well, and landscaping. So him and his staff have done an incredible job making sure the venue is presentable, very clean every single day, and that's a lot of hours, a lot of behind-the-scenes work, but they've done a fantastic job for us.
How do you approach new partners or new sponsors and all that? What's the Tyler Yoder approach there?
Going in, just kind of eyes open, ears open on what are you looking for out of this. We don't necessarily want to come into a conversation saying, here's what we want, here's what we want you to do for us. It's how can we be a resource for you? And I think that's the approach we wanted to take all along, especially with the local restaurants, with the local retail, of how can be a resource for you? How can we be value add? That's the biggest thing, is we're not attempting to pull the business or compete against other places. It's how can we be a value add to the community? And that's the biggest approach that we take into any conversation.
Then how do you maintain to stand out as you go forward? Emerald Acres, we still think of it as new, but eventually it's going to be, it's been there for a few years, it's established, but that's maybe the toughest time, right? Once you get established, to maintain that number one seed.
Yeah, maintaining it is obviously very important, but I mentioned it day by day, but sometimes you have to get a little bit ahead of yourself. That starts now, and getting the tournaments, the quality of tournaments that you want. It might not be where you want it to be right now, but can you allow that opportunity to grow over time, 3-4 years? We'll take, Mattoon Wrestling, for example. It's a local club, great organization, great people over in that club, and we knew that we wanted to start a little smaller, local, allow them to grow, and really let that thing take off. And we'll see that transition from last year to this year, and we'll continue to maintain that.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big tournament. That was the biggest tournament we had when I was part of that club, and it's the just the sheer numbers of 5 to 12-year-olds that wrestle in the state of Illinois. And even though it's not it's still a niche sport in some areas. It's a lot of people there.
Absolutely.
A few minutes left with Tyler. Any last questions?
I had a question. What would you say is like the busiest season of at Emerald Acres?
We have yet to see it. The June and July come the outdoor side. That'll easily be our biggest month. But thus far, we saw it this year. We see that transition even grow more into next year. Specifically, February, March, and April are really big for us. February, March, and April will fully sold out on the indoor. Next year, we had quite a bit of tournaments. I believe 4 or 5 tournaments in the month of February on top of that Royal King Expo I spoke of. So February, March, and April are really big, busy months for us on the indoor.
Yeah.
How often do you talk to like the Illinois High School Sports Association and the IESA? Are they all the time you're discussing?
As often as we possibly can. We also want to take advantage of state track being here on campus. We're able to figure out every email of every athletic director, and it takes a lot of hours, but touching base with all of them, trying to get their plans for their kids and the families traveling, and we want to stay in constant communication with them, not only on what they're wanting to see out of our venue, but rules and regulations, as well as a big one for us. We knew that, for example, when we were building this, in 2026, high school is going to transition to having shot clocks. I want to make sure that we had that built in to our plans. We have shot clocks here at the venue. We can accommodate a lot of that. Without having to think of, well, how much is it going to cost to bring in later? We want to do it right the first time when we're building it.
Yeah, I get you.
What's your personal opinion on shot clocks in high school? I think it's a good idea.
I love it. I think it'll be more competitive.
He's from T-Town, the king.
The basketball people, but I'm personally indifferent. I mean, growing up, we didn't have shot clock at T-Town, so I mean, it doesn't bother me that a lot of them are getting installed. But then again, I didn't play basketball past like 10 years old, so I don't.
I think it's illegal, actually. To be
they say you're born with you're in one hand and the basketball in the other. But I mean, in some cases, like I was a hunter growing up, so like like when I heard you guys had archery, like that was very nostalgic for me because I used to bow hunt like a lot. So, and actually on that, like, do you know like what are like because again, like I bow hunt. Do you know like what is like some specifications on like what like rules of archery like in the competitive sense rather than like because obviously bow hunt and whatnot.
I don't know all the rules, but I know that's one additional feature we're adding this year. We had 2 archery tournaments last year, the standard target. We're actually adding in a 3D tournament this year, so you'll have a lot of that setup in the gym. That'll be a 2-day tournament, so it's just one more value add for us. I need to catch myself up on the rules and regulations, but it'll be a fun experience for us.
And is there another like other than archery? Is there another sport that like you're glad that you actually learned more about by being at Emerald Acres?
Wrestling for sure. Not only because it was a local community, a local organization we partnered with. I think that's one big focus for us, but I never wrestled growing up, so that was one thing that it didn't come naturally to me, the rules and just what that event would look like. So that was one of the more fulfilling tournaments I've probably had as well.
We're about out of time today with Tyler Yoder. We'll ask you a couple unrelated fast questions. Is there a sport you would not host or could not host? I guess maybe a better way to
couldn't host probably racquetball. I'll say we can't do that in the venue.
All-time favorite Olympian athlete?
Oh boy, that's tough. Michael Phelps is up there. Probably Usain Bolt too. He's a fun one to watch.
Rather fast. College football team you follow?
Illinois and Notre Dame.
Oh,
very nice.
There you go.
Notre Dame, yeah.
Summer vacation spot? Are you going to be able to get away this summer at all, or did you?
I hope so. Usually I try to go to Hilton Head if I can.
There you go. Most famous person you've ever met?
Oh boy, I played catch at the Tulane football stadium with Jamie Foxx one time, so that was fun.
That's a pretty good one. Well, Tyler, hey, good to see you again, my man. Doing a great job over there at Malacre.
Thank you very much, Tyler.
We appreciate you being here. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks,
Jackson. We are WEIU.